Service asked. I'm still assuming that this is a net expenditure of maybe $7 million that we don't have to spend because by everyone's testimony, this department is doing a very good job. I'm willing to accept that we ought to do something to make it more pleasant to work. We certainly should have better bathrooms. We ought to comply with whatever the state requires with respect to disposal of wash water for the trucks. I just, as a pure project analysis proposition, cannot make the $7 million come out to anything other than a major league thank you to the people who ought to be thanked and who do a lot of work for us. But I can assure you, a much smaller fraction given to them as a direct bonus would probably make them feel appreciated. It's just very difficult if, in a business environment, if someone came to you with this project and it wasn't a vanity project that, you know, I want to show the world how spiffy, amalgamated, and consolidated it is as a company. It's just very difficult for me to understand how you would justify spending this much money to get a small incremental performance.
I'm Chris Keeble, 94 Center Road in Woodbridge. In the bond interest, you quoted a 3% rate. Is that a variable rate, or would that be fixed for the life of the 20-year bond?
When you issue bonds, each year could be different, but it's fixed as soon as you issue the bonds. And so the 3% represents an average of what we would pay for the life of the bonds. So I guess the answer is yes, but we fixed it at 3%.
There's other people. Let me get people who haven't spoken. I'll get back to you.
Rhoda Lincoln, Fraser Drive. I was just wondering if the old firehouse could not be utilized for some of the functions that were missing in the old facility. I mean, let's use a building that we already have. $26 per thousand doesn't sound like a lot, but I've been here so many times in the last few years with the firehouse and the country club of Woodbridge and the schools and now this. So our taxes have increased over the years, and here we have a building. Couldn't that house some of the trucks or wash them down or something? So we don't have to spend so much money.
David Bark at 18 Bond Road. I've been accused by some of never not liking a project that doesn't cost money to the town, but that's not the case, but I won't disappoint tonight. I actually want to compliment the building committee and the architect for what I would consider to be a very efficient design in every way. I mean, it's structurally simple and efficient. It presents a very low mass to the public side of the building, that is the side facing the rear of Town Hall. It provides an accessible entrance to allow the public to visit without having to cross heavy truck traffic. There's all the prior designs that were shown would not have provided those attributes. Well, one thing I would question is the need for accessibility at the bay level. I think if there's accessibility at the upper level, the need for an elevator is questionable, since the folks that would be driving in or maintaining the trucks would not be capable of doing so if they were wheelchair bound, and I think that could be an engaging discussion with the building official. I think other attributes of the building, including indirect lighting, will reduce the energy requirements, and I would urge the town to consider purchasing radiant flooring if a life cycle cost analysis proved that that was a more efficient long-term benefit to the town, because we shouldn't be just thinking about first cost. We should be thinking about the life cycle cost of these buildings. And finally, I'd like to compliment, I'd like to acknowledge the fact that we have Harold Roth, who is a nationally famous architect that is designing a very straightforward and intelligent maintenance facility for us. And it's kind of a privilege to have that here. And other people may not realize this because it's kind of a sublime building, but this may be one of the best, or the best public building we have in Woodbridge when it's said and done, and for a very reasonable cost. So I would definitely support this project.
I want to ask again, a little too close, but the other gentleman's point was about the elevator and everything. I'm not an engineer, nor am I an architect, nor will I ever be. But when it comes to like the mezzanine above, perhaps it might be cheaper and more efficient if maybe it was a one-floor facility and the mezzanine wasn't there. We wouldn't have to put in an elevator. It's probably going to be $50,000 to $100,000 more, or may just expand upon the bottom floor a little bit. And that's massive.
Thank you. Let me respond to both of those issues. Thank you for your kind words. I appreciate that for Harold. We did not have an elevator in our first go-around because we felt we met the accessibility requirements by having access to both levels. We were, however, confronted by a state code that says that if you have a mezzanine that is more than 3,000 square feet, you need to have handicapped accessibility between the two levels. And since our square footage is 4,000 square feet on the mezzanine and 12,000 square feet on the first floor, which meets the mezzanine requirements of 30% of the floor area, we are more than 3,000 square feet. When you take into account the reason that the mezzanine exists is for a number of reasons. The first reason is because this is a garage, we need to be able to ventilate in case of an emergency all of the air out of that building in 30 seconds. Should a carbon monoxide become a problem, there have to be a series of fans built into the building and a system to evacuate that air, which is extremely efficient. And the reason for that skylight across the back, that you saw that clear story, is because that acts as the ventilating system for the garage. And we have created a ventilating system so that all of the air can be evacuated in 30 seconds out of that building if necessary. The mezzanine also serves a very important function because it also provides a place for the bathrooms and the shower requirements for both men and women, which we are required to do by law today, for all of the employees of the town of Woodbridge. At the current time, there are no facilities in the existing structure that provide for any kind of hygiene whatsoever in that building. And these employees work there, sweating, fixing the cars in the summertime, fixing the vehicles in the wintertime, and no place to take a shower, no place to clean up. It's inappropriate in terms of OSHA regulations, and it's inappropriate in terms of treating our employees this way. But more relevantly, the mezzanine serves a purpose because it was designed as a storage facility in an original concept, and we realized how it could be accessible to the town and create very inexpensive square footage for redoing the offices. It does pull the whole public works facility into one building, one stop for everyone, where the clients do not have to mix with the traffic of the yard itself. And that's the reason how the mezzanine developed to where it was.
Could perhaps that 1,000 square feet that requires the elevator be moved, say, across the yard to that other structure that's being built, or something along those lines that's going to have to be there?
The mezzanine has to be where it is. It cannot be any other place. No. The reason that we get the kind of economic efficiency we're talking about the science, Harold explained how this building is built into the hillside. This provides us with a very, very good thermal insulation for cost reduction and cost savings for heating the building. Very, very effective way to do it. If we are able to afford the heat on the floor, that will further increase the ability to maintain that temperature and maintain that building. at a very, very less expensive cost than it is ordinarily. The building is also designed to take advantage of the current gas system, which is coming into town right now to people's schools, and that building will be fed by gas. And one of the important things I think that one has to consider, and this is clearly up to the town residents one way or another, it is the cheapest time to build a facility right now. The cost of construction, the cost of borrowing is as low as it's ever going to get. And if the town wishes to take advantage of those particular economic situations, which unfortunately many architects are suffering from, I think this is a very good time to be doing this kind of facility if you have the desire to do so.
Sir in the back.
Warren Luciani, 21 Orange Street. I've lived in this town, I was born in this town my whole life. I own a construction company in this town. I do a lot of business with the town, and I am very familiar with the facility down there. I would really like everyone in here to take 10 minutes out of your day and go see the facility. It's a facility that is old, obviously. It's been hacked up. When the fuel spill was here, our company actually did a lot of work on the fuel spill. The building came down, housed their bathrooms, housed their place to have lunch. In order to get a grip on what's really going here, you need to understand a couple of things. The Public Works Department has somebody in it 6 days a week, at least 8 hours a day. In the wintertime when it snows, more than that, 7 days a week and nights. We spend money in this town on open space that we get nothing in return from. We spend money on a golf course, which 10% of the town uses. We spend money on a lot of foolish things in this town. This is money directly going to ourselves. These are the guys that service our roads, cut our trees, mow our ball fields. These are the guys that service the residents of the town of Woodbridge. It's about time that they get a facility that they can have a bathroom in, have a lunchroom in, have their equipment parked where it's dry. And I don't know if anybody realizes, but one of those little small town trucks outfitted costs about $180,000. You want to get at least 15 to 20 years out of that truck if you can. Currently we get about 10. Am I right, Warren? About 10 years out of a truck?
The service life is longer, but there's a lot of wear and tear.
Yeah, about 10 years, what we do is we retire. We'll take 2 of them and retire. And those will be the spares for when a truck breaks down on a snow road. You have to go get into a truck that's 12 years old, that's been sitting outside for the whole half a year or whatever, and it's cold. And you need to realize that these trucks, you don't get in, you don't turn the key and go. These trucks have to be started, the oil has to be heated up, the brakes, everything needs to be warmed up. So all that is a factor. These loaders that we buy that cost $220,000 each, and I believe we own 4 of them. We have 2 backhoes, we got one with the country club, and we have 2 loaders at this time. And they're all parked outside. And they're getting wear and tear. I mean, personally, I park my vehicles inside as often as possible in my facility. And I have a small facility in town. It's only going to benefit the residents. You're going to get longer longevity out of all the equipment. Let's not just talk about the trucks. Let's talk about the lawn mowers, the weed whackers, the chainsaws. These are the guys that when we have a hurricane in this town or an October snowstorm, we're all calling town hall. When are they coming to my road? When are they coming to my road? And they get plenty of phone calls. And, you know, why am I first? Where are these guys? They're out, and they're out, and they're at your mercy 24/7. It's just about time. And it's not about the guys having a nice facility. It's about the town having a facility for our employees, for our equipment. It's not about the employees getting a bonus or anything. It's about this town having a respectful facility for the people that work here. I don't think there's anybody in this room that will work in a place that has a bathroom like they have. The bathroom's in one room, and the sink, you have to walk outside to wash your hands. And you have to walk sideways into the bathroom because you can't get in. Me being a fairly decent-sized gentleman, I've used the facility a few times, and it's ridiculous. You wouldn't work at your job with a facility like this. You would be the first people to complain. Understand All they want is a place to work, and all they want to do is serve us. Let's help them out.
Before when I spoke,
Please identify yourself.
I'm sorry, Joan Lindy, Shepherd Grove. Before when I spoke about this was what I meant. Why are we doing this? So now we have an idea that there is a real need and that people have put a lot of work into this. However, because I see two problems here. The first problem is one of communication. Maybe we need to have an email newsletter because there are those of us who are unaware of all these things from the periphery. And quite frankly, they're important and we're on the edges. I have certainly come to agree that something needs to be done. The real question is the assumption that this is what we will do. I think that this is the point to reconsider the approach. Lainey might have, she's still here, she suggested using the firehouse. It's inspired. Sometimes people say things as a joke that are really a good idea. Another woman suggested using the old firehouse. That's also a good idea. This is an opportunity for creativity. And I think that we should take it. And I think that as a town, we should reconsider our spending habits, which are way over the top.
My name is Ann Doherty. I live on Woodbridge Road. I've been a resident of Woodbridge since 1976. I've been a realtor for 25 years, okay? I did some statistics today, and along the same line that the woman just spoke, the town of Woodbridge, there are 169 towns in Connecticut. Woodbridge has the 13th highest mill rate of all of the towns. We're right up there with West Hartford, with Waterbury, with New Haven, with Meriden. If you look at Fairfield, you look at Wilton, you look at Weston, they're 17, they're 20, they're 22. I probably should have come a long time ago to say the same thing about some of the other expenditures that we have in the town. I agree, and I think it's been made very clear tonight that there is something that needs to be done. But I would question as to whether or not the plan that's currently in front of us is the one that needs to be taken care of. The other thing is prices in Woodbridge have not gone up in terms of sale prices. If you look at surrounding communities, Woodbridge is the best buy for somebody coming into town. It's the best buy, it's not the best sell. Because prices here have not appreciated the same way they have in other towns. So I would say the same thing. I would urge you to look at the plans and decide we've got to be a little bit more prudent. You see that there are a lot of people out there losing their houses. There's a lot that's going on out there. I mean, I'm a single woman. I am very glad when Public Works is out there and the street is done and I can go out and go to work. But I also question some of the expenditures.
Mr. Luther?
Michael Luther, Northrop Road. With respect to the last two lady fellow residents of our town, I would ask you to consider what David and Warren have said, to which in a moment I will add my own way to look at things which many of you know. In this town we have to wait and work on projects forever. How the heck long did it take us to build the library? And how the heck long did it take the fire department to wait till we had finished the library before we could build the firehouse? Now it's the time for the public works, and as time goes on, the police will be coming. Tony has mentioned that there are things in the 5-year plan, if you look at the budget, for Beecher Road and such. The point is, with respect to both of those ladies, and I respect them both, there has been a heck of a lot of information given to citizens of this town who, like yourselves, have got the gumption to come out and listen. I've been to 2 or 3 discussions of this facility. I've spent a large part of a long afternoon with Terry Gilbride on exactly the details of this. We need this facility. We have got an excellent plan, a very efficient plan. It is their time. And now comes that white-headed tall guy talking as he always does. Tony sees me a lot. Ed sees me somewhat. If you want information in this town, everybody, ask. This isn't anybody covering up anything in this town. My concern has always been, as a former treasurer and member of the Board of Finance for umpteen years, we must keep the expenditures in our budgets, operating budgets, under 10% on debt service. This is the graph that Tony gave us. It was given to an earlier showing. I am convinced that we have the diminution on an annual basis of funds that from the operating budget must go to debt service to the point where it is time for this town to address the public works. David and Warren have said it better than I can. We have a very fine bunch of men doing a darn fine job to keep the equipment on the road safely for as long as possible. We have lost, because you good folk who came tonight do not represent 100 people. We who had the interest to come have lost the ability to vote this up or down. But I thank each and every one of you for coming here. Listen to what David said. Look at what Warren said. They know what they're talking about. I've heard them talk about it before. Ladies, there's plenty of opportunity, if you read the bulletins and such in this town, to come to more meetings that you might not want to, but they're there if you are a citizen. Thank you.
Chuck Hine, 162 Center Road. Mr. Luther, I listened to those gentlemen. I listened to you as well, and you made an interesting point about if you ask for the information, it's going to be available. I dispute that now, and I'll tell you why. Because shortly after the last public hearing, I presented a request to the Board of Selectmen to go back and look at worst-case scenario as to what those debt numbers look like if the Beecher Road number is more than 12 million, if the police station is more than 3 million. Now, I don't think anyone here disputes all the good points that were made about the need for this structure. The question is, can we afford this structure in the context of other expenses coming our way? I would remind the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance with respect that our estimates of cost of major projects in this town have not exactly been spot on. And I can reference, after the $7 million we spent on the golf course, how much more money we've put into it. So my question to you is, since we don't have presentations of what the mill rate impact would be if the entire Beecher Road effort, which has been in the papers to be up to $19 million, and I'm sure the police station could go more than $3 million, are you who are voting on this thing, which we obviously can't, are the members of the Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance ready to sit here in front of us and cast a vote with absolute confidence that all the work that needs to be done at Beecher and all the work that needs to be done on the police department renovation are not going to go past the numbers that have been presented to us tonight? I have a serious question that those numbers aren't the final numbers and that we're going to be looking at more expense. And I think the more expense there is, the more we have to look hard at the project before us now. Because it's just not a matter of who gets in line first for the money, because all this money adds up. So, you know, Tony Genovese was very nice, and Mr. Page was very nice about answering specific questions from residents. I'm asking every voting member of the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance now, are you comfortable that the $12 million has been presented for Beecher and the $3 million for the police station are the numbers we're going to be able to do those projects with sitting here today? So that's my question.
Let me respond to that. As
far as the Beach Road School Building Committee, the building committee there has given us that number. That's the number they're confident with, and that's the number we're using. And the same is true with the police commission. As far as we know, it's $3 million, and that's what we're relying on. So as of today, that's what we're relying on.
That's a nice qualifier.
It's not a qualifier, that's to stay in the back. If you have some other information that would...
Well, yes, I do, because I read the Family Register, and I've spoken to people who are on the Beach Road Building Commission. They say that going to a phased approach is a smart one, and I agree. But that the $12 million that they're talking about in phases doesn't represent all the work that should be done at that facility. And I think there's more money to be had. And again, I go back to our estimates aren't great from a track record perspective. We're spending more money on other things like the golf course. So I think we're looking at this not with all the information, not with all the information that could be made available.
We're looking at this with the information that those committees have given to us. That's what we're looking at.
So you're rock solid that they're not going to go up?
I'm relying on the information that the building committee has given to us.
So you're rock solid they're not going to go up?
I have confidence in the building committee.
All right, how about the other voting members of the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance? Do they feel the same way? Yeah, I am bold.
First of all, I'm magically Eddie, Chairman of the Board of Finance. The one thing that has always been apparent to me in my 25 years on the Board of Finance, the Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance do an excellent job of managing debt service. When Tony presented that schedule, he shows the debt service curve, which we're very much aware of. And we try and structure new debt service when we retire old debt service so as not to impact taxes. Whatever number Beecher comes in at, we're going to work with that number, and we're going to put it in phases or whatever to make sure. Can we guarantee that's the number? Absolutely not. I can't begin to tell you that based on all the information that we've got, this is the number they're working with. But we have always structured debt service in an intelligent and a financially sound method to level off debt service so that year after year we don't have big spikes in debt service, which is what we've already told Beecher. That's the reason we've told Beecher that they have to look at phasing. We cannot hit the budget with a $12 million or $13 or $14 million number. So in my opinion, I understand your question. I don't quite understand the question about the country club, because I don't know how much money we spent. I think the country club has carried itself so far. But as far as Beecher goes, as the numbers become apparent, they wanted to get this project done 2 years ago, and we pushed them off because it's just not feasible. So the Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance will look at the numbers and will incorporate them into the debt service and operating budget in such a way as to not impact taxes in a negative way. And that's something we've always done, and I think the track record shows that our debt service lines are very stable and go down. So
when you're underwater, you're 13th in the state. Just at this level doesn't mean it's good.
13th in the state what?
Well,
mill rate. Right? Let me answer that question. Right? Let me answer the question on mill rate. If you're going to compare us to New Canaan or the grand lists in those towns are humongous. The houses, they might have a lower grand list, but they pay way more in taxes than we do. Grand list is the function of mill rate. Mill rate has nothing. You can't compare mill rates from the towns of Fairfield County to the town of Woodbridge. Their grand list is significantly higher.
Some of the taxes with some of those towns in Fairfield, because I've been doing this for 25 years, okay? You look at what some of those towns in Fairfield County are paying.
Get up and look to the back.
I remember years ago, when the pavement was painted, they were having, their taxes were like $10,000. There were houses in Milton that certainly were around 5 or 6 times at least the value of what was in Wayman, and they were paying $9,000 in taxes. So grand list, yes, means a lot, but also what I said, we are paying more in taxes than a lot of these other surrounding towns. That's all that I have to say. And what I said, the sales are not here. That's the part that's so frustrating. All right? What I said, it's the best buy here. It's not the best sell anymore.
I would just like to add one other thing. I joined the Board of Finance in 1987. And in 1987, we had the bond issue. It was the first thing I had to consider. And I spoke to the first selectman at the time, Russell Stoddard, and discussed with him, and we discussed with the Board of Finance at the time, all the various projects that were covered under that. And one of them was the Public Works facility. And Mr. Stoddard made it very clear that the Public Works facility needed to be upgraded, and it was substandard in 1987. Here we are in 2012, 25 years later. They've lost half of their facility. Warren says he goes into that bathroom, he has difficulty. I don't think I could fit in that bathroom. You literally have to go in sideways, and you have to wash your hands, you have to go outside, amongst many other things. These guys do a fantastic job. This is 2012. There are certain norms that I think we need to expect in public works facilities. This needs to be level. Anyone who thinks that it can be renovated or can be improved, you do need to do what Warren suggested. Take a ride down there, take a walk. Maybe Warren will be down there and he'll show you the facility. And when you see it, you'll see why this has to be done.
I just want to say that in regards to taxes, I moved here because I could afford the taxes. Well, I looked at a lot of different houses. I looked in every single town, and there's a lot of them that have taxes that are higher than this. I think even Milford's are higher than this. The only thing for me that really I looked at it is what does the town provide for me? Like I am single, I don't have kids, there's no public water, there's no public sewer. There's really nothing that I'm getting. I understand the whole paying to the system eventually it'll pay back to you, right? I got that. It's just, the big issue is cost when it comes down to it. Like I got a dilapidated shed in the back. I'm afraid to build it up because I know my tax is probably going to go up when it's assessed, like another $2,000 to $3,000 if I fix it, right? The issue here with everybody is simply a matter of cost. What are all these projects and stuff going to come up to in our pocket when we already feel that we pay a lot? Everybody feels we pay a lot because the economy's slump, right? So I think everyone here, including myself, is just asking that we assess the architecture of here, so not the architecture, but the building structure, to see if there's any way, shape, or form that we can actually reduce the cost of this project so as to not raise the cash coming out of our pockets that we all work hard for. And we all understand that they do need this department for public work facilities.
Let me just tell you that the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance are very conscious of the tax situation in Woodbridge. And over the past year, past 2 years, the increase in taxes is less than 1%. Find another town around here or in Connecticut and say that.
The last two comments, this gentleman first, thank you.
Can everybody hear me? No. I want to say that my family's moved here in 1976. And unquestionably, since 1976, the town of Woodbridge Public Works Department has done a marvelous job. Over and over and over again. The question tonight, honorable male and females, is not a question of, how can I say this, that we don't need this, because we do. It's evident. Mr. Sorensen just told me, it goes back to my father, well, because I already belonged to. And he told me that, because there was a suggestion online was going to be that we put solar panels on the roof. And no disrespect to Mr. Roth, because my father was also an architect for the city of New England as well as publicly. He did private practice under separate associates. Mr. Gilbertson, over the years. This is something that we need. Right now, we need to do the bathrooms. We need to have whatever is necessary for our people in the town of Woodbridge to work safely. It's not a matter of this building. It's a matter of right now it has to be done to make it come up to code. It's not there. Whatever needs to be done for our people to have a safe workplace. Because I saw it before I came over here. It's a shambles. It's not feasible for our people that work for us, time and time again, to work there. So what needs to be done immediately, to me, is this place needs to be fixed so that those people that work for us, that keep our roads, our trees, and our state roads throughout the city, throughout the town of Woodbridge, safely, we can go 2 and 4 to our jobs in the city and elsewhere. It needs to be up to code. So my recommendation, Mr. Gilbertson, selected officials, is that we put it in code. It's a safe workplace. Come back to the drawing table, tweak it. Mr. Roth, the plan is great. I'm not doubting it. It'll work. think it says we need to do something. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Pat Crisco, Racebrook Road, Woodbridge. I'm the tax collector here also. We started collecting taxes on July 1st, and outside my office, on a huge wall, are all these drawings for the public works. And out of the hundreds of people that we've had come in so far, probably one person has stopped and looked at them. What amazes me about this is that there has been a lot of notice about this. There had meetings before. And I just don't understand how people can come to a meeting and not be prepared. We, 2 years ago, voted on the country club of Woodbridge. We had to hold it at Amity High School. 500 people showed up. We voted on it. It was unanimous. Come time for the regular meeting, everyone left. We didn't even have a quorum. I just feel really strongly, because I listen to a lot of disgruntled people and a lot of really nice people who come into the office, that if you have a complaint, if you have something you want to say, come to the meetings. They're all open, they're on television, there's so much you can do, but look into things before you come and say something.
Well, I wish to thank everyone for coming tonight and voicing your concerns. As I said earlier, the Board of Finance and Board of Selectmen are very conscious of the tax situation in Woodbridge. We make every effort to make sure that the taxes are as reasonable as they can be, given the demands on public service, public needs. And you know, we've been looking at this thing for 25 years, since 1987, and every time it comes up, there's been a reason to delay it, just like there was a reason to delay the construction of the firehouse. Sometimes you have to make a decision and move on. There's no question we need this new facility. It's an adequate facility to house the vehicles that we need to be housed and allow them to repair the vehicles and to render the services to our town. And so as a result tonight, there's not even 100 people here to open this meeting. It shows you, I believe anyways, that the overwhelming majority of people in town are in favor of this project. So thank you for coming.
The meeting is adjourned, and I want to thank everyone for being so patient for a very